All right, rock and roll. Here we are. Welcome to the Scorched Earth Podcast. I'm your host, John. You know me, the real good-looking guy. I'm Brad Pitt's double. You didn't see the similarity? What the heck? I don't know. You might need to get some corrective lenses. I don't know. But if you could, welcome. Hit that subscribe and like button. It means a lot to us. Leave some comments. Unless you want to say something negative about me, then you can go F yourself. We had some comments the other day, and it was kind of nice. You know, they were telling us the Democrats were finished, and that we're all going to be laying in the grave, and the Republican wave is coming. And like I remind people, 4 years ago, where was the Republican Party? It was. They had lost the House, they had lost the Senate, they had lost the presidency. Trump was in exile in Mar-a-Lago, and look where they came back. It was what it was. But I was talking to Brother Bill tonight, and he is literally, in the course of my life, one of my favorite people I've ever met. He's just a good guy. I've met a lot of people. I've known a lot of people. I've known a lot of scoundrels, known a lot of rascals. I've known evil people who masqueraded as good people, and then you find out too late. And but Bill, from the first time I ever met him, I worked with him for a long time, and just a good guy. And he's one of those few guys who, even though life deals you some bad cards, it never broke him. It never changed his spirit. And we were talking tonight. I'm lucky enough to talk to him. And it is weird that all the people I value as friends are Republicans. I mean, it's like, how did this happen? And as you get older, your circle of friends gets smaller. And I have a group of 4 or 5 friends that I cherish. Does that make me gay if I say I cherish it, if I'm a guy? Let me get back to you on that. And hey, I was actually going to wear a pink t-shirt today, but I thought, man, that's not going to really go good with the podcast tonight. I'll save it for tomorrow maybe. And we have lunch or dinner every couple months, and we get together and we tell stories, and it's really it's rejuvenating to me. It brings me a lot of happiness. And the guys are always cool, but I'm the only Democrat, right? There's Scott, there's Eric, there's Doug. We call him Dougal Snuggles because when he was single, I said, "Hey, Doug, you're gonna find love on the internet." Well, there was a lot of funny episodes, but eventually he found love, he found happiness, he found a wife. God bless him. And then there's Bill, and I sit at the table with them, and you kind of feel like, wow, how did this happen? And I was talking to Bill tonight, and a person I've talked about before on this show is a friend of mine named Eric. And I'm really lucky to have him as a friend too. And I guess if I didn't feel that way, he wouldn't be my friend, right? That's a little too much logic for this late of night, so let's just move on. But Bill and I were talking about Eric, and Eric is a man's man. Everybody in the group is a man's man, but Eric is truly the closest guy I've ever met in my life to Clint Eastwood, right? This dude, he could get a bullet wound and he'd put some dirt on it and go, okay, we're good. He wouldn't cry, he wouldn't do anything. That's just how he is, right? So Eric and his wife, I've known him for quite a while. And they had a son, Noah, and they were happy. And I believe their son was 8 or 9 years old or whatever. And I happened to stop by his house. I don't usually do the drop-in too much, but I did it that day. And I was talking to him and his wife, and I don't know where it came from, but I said, I got into this prayer mode, right? And I said, Dear Jesus, grant this beautiful couple the gift of life. Give them a couple babies. And they both laughed, and Eric laughed, and his wife, Carrie, laughed. And about a month later, she got pregnant. Now, for some reason, they held me accountable. Right? And we had some Christmas parties, and, she gave me the stink eye and whatever, but it was all in good fun. She had some beautiful twins, a boy and a girl. And the boy, as I've alluded to in a couple different incidents, hey, don't get on me about the language. I already told you about Kiev, right? So in the last couple of years, I've had lunch with Eric. There's been a couple times where families got together and his wife and him were together. And I told you the story of recently, I believe it was last month, Eric, his son plays baseball for a local local college team, and he's actually very good. But in today's world of athletics, there's such a neuroscience that's going on. And we're learning things like hamstring strains, if they're not properly treated, can blow out an Achilles heel. Things like we would have never thought of 20 years ago. So his son is on the team. He's a freshman. And he couldn't play in some baseball games because, quote unquote, he had an injury to an explosive impact area. Don't even know. I'm assuming a leg area, whatever. And Eric is telling me this, and I can just see him rolling his eyes back in his head. And it took me back to about 2-3 years ago. We were all having dinner. All the couples are together. I'm the solo guy, right? And Eric made a comment about this same son. He said, well, he couldn't change a tire on a truck. Now, Eric, like I said, he's a man's man. This guy is a wrench, right? This dude could build the space shuttle. I mean, literally, this guy is Apollo 13, right? You can give him a bag full of trash, and this dude could build an interstellar alien craft. He is that smart. He is that savvy. Him and Bill are the two most mechanically inclined people I ever met. I mean, literally, you could throw dirt in there and they will make the Taj Mahal. Okay? Whatever. I'm not that way. I just, I just get the AI printer. Okay? Give me the 3D printer. I'll figure it out, right? So Eric, a couple years ago, said, about this same son, said he couldn't change the tire. And the mom runs in front of everybody, and she wants to protect her son. God bless her. Love that lady. She's cool. She goes, no, he did a good job. He did the best he could and whatever. And they've been married for 30 happy years. And I could see Eric lean back in his chair. And sometimes when you're a guy, or maybe girls have this same thing with other girls, you just know what's going on in their mind. You can just read their mind. And I saw him, and he looked up at the ceiling, and he was like, how is this my son? How is this my son? He can't even change a tire. And at that moment, I know he was contemplating, was there a switch at the hospital? Is this time for me to leave my family and just head for the wilderness of Canada and just relocate and just leave it all behind because he's brought such shame to me? But he wouldn't say a word. Never said a word. Never even told me that. I just read that into him. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. But where I'm getting to, after my 4-minute diatribe of nothingness, which you're used to on this show, is sometimes you're happy, but you don't know how you got to a place. And I'm so lucky I have all these friends. I was talking to Scott yesterday. We did a podcast. And I think to myself sometimes when I'm talking, I'm like, I have so much admiration for these people, but they're on the other side of the political aisle. And it's just, I don't know. I don't even know how you get around. I literally have to find some Democrats who got a backbone. I don't know. Is that a possibility? I'm not sure. Is it a real thing? Does that make me a wussy? I don't know. Don't answer. All right? Like I said, hit the subscribe and like button. That's my little story for Eric tonight. And with that said, I was talking to, I enlightened Brother Bill about the podcast, and I hadn't told him that for the last couple months. Kept it a secret. That's what I am. And he is the aeronautical guy, and I do hope to have him on the show one day and talk about something of interest for the public in terms of planes. He's an incredibly insightful and incredibly intelligent guy. All right, with that, enough about the glad handing and slapping each other on the back and blowing each other. Let's get off to the podcast tonight and find out what's going on in our political world. We're taking no prisoners, telling no lies. All right, are we on the precipice of a recession? Damn right we are. Good luck. Yesterday, Monday, stocks plunged, Bitcoin stumbled, and the Wall Street panic hit an all-time high. It's the highest level it's been this year. It's over a multitude of things: Trump's tariffs, his economic policies, and it didn't help that this weekend he said that he couldn't predict if a recession was coming. And it goes to show you the power of the president. And I really don't understand how the Treasury Secretary and the Commerce Secretary, who wield enormous economic influence in this country, are over in Ukraine trying to negotiate some deal. I don't understand what that is, okay? They have the right to do what they want, but I honestly think they should be in U.S. soil dealing with U.S. problems. But we live in an era where Trump says so many things and people blow it off the cuff, but for some reason this really resonated when on Maria Bartiromo's show, she asked him, do you see a recession this year? And he said, I can't predict the future. It really spooked the markets. And then he was on Air Force One later that day, coming back from golf. Hey, can't work every day, okay? Even the Lord said to take a day off, right? And on Air Force One, he said, hey, I'm not going to predict whether or not there's going to be a recession. And for a guy who is so bold in his predictions, whether they come true or not, it was kind of a come to Jesus moment, right? You know, now they're talking about we're going to have to feel pain. You know, we heard for a year that prices were going to come down on day one, and now all of a sudden there's going to be a level of pain. I forgot that part, right? It's like kind of getting into a relationship and you think it's all going to be lovey-dovey, and then they inform you, oh, by the way, I have another personality, and it's going to be a little painful for the first 6 to 8 years of this relationship. Enjoy. Okay, there we go, right? So the Dow Jones closed down on Monday, 890 points. At one point, it was 1,100 points off. And it wiped out the last 4 months of gains in a single day. I was a little happy to see Tesla go down 15%. I'm no fan of Tesla. It is funny that Tesla owners typically, by percentage, somewhere around 75 to 75, 80%, 75 to 75 to 80% are Democrats. Because, you know, quote unquote, they want to be environmental, they want to be green. And now he's kind of pissed them off. And sales are starting to slump. We had a little short the other day about how they're trying to cheat the Canadian government on tax rebates. You ought to check it out. Hey, all my shorts, check out, because they're brilliant. It was the worst day for NASDAQ since September 2022, and resulted in, it came from, you know, like I said, the multitude of things that Trump's doing. We don't know where he is on tariffs. And like I've talked about previously, you keep crying wolf, there's going to be problems. There's going to be problems. And the thing about the market is what they really want is consistency. They can gauge consistency. If they think you have a consistent plan, even if the market goes down, they'll buy bonds. They will buy things that will make them money. When they don't know, they don't invest. They sell. They get out. They get scared. They're not like me and you who buy a stock and hold it for 10 years. They're holding it for minutes, if that. They're just trying to turn a dollar, trying to turn a couple of percent and just move on, right? So I saw one of the Wall Street gurus talking about what a buy Tesla was. This was in the Wall Street Journal. And let me give you all a little advice, and this is going to be some really good sage advice. I've been investing in stocks for 20, 25 years. I'm not that good. Okay, I'm not. There's a reason I'm doing the podcast. There's a reason I didn't give up my day job as a carpenter, right? And one of the things I know, and I really learned this from Jim Cramer in 2008, is they will, if they've got a bad position, if they got a stock and they're in the wrong place, they will try and push it off on John Q. Public and Joan Q. Public, right? They will try and get us to buy their crap. Right? So this is what I saw in the Wall Street Journal. Oh, the Tesla dip. It's a wonderful opportunity for the bulls on Wall Street to buy. Let me tell you something. If they were going to buy, they wouldn't tell you. They just buy it. They're telling you that so maybe you'll run out and buy some Tesla stock. Let me tell you something. That Tesla stock, I don't know where it's going. I'm not going to be the predictor, but I got a feeling it's going to be a long time till it starts heading up. And it is funny that the last 5 years of gains from Tesla, I believe when Trump left office, it was somewhere around $250, $260. Under Biden, I think the week before he left, it was at $460. Now it's at $214, $215, something like that. Yeah. Hey, I'll give you a little joke. This just came off the cuff. Hey, I'm Magic. How do you get rid of 5 years of profit? Have Elon Musk run Doge. Yeah, no kidding, right? So we're talking about the economy. The stock market's losing. The policies with Trump 2.0 are not resonating with the people. Ed Yerdon of Yerdony Research says that the stock market, the people are losing confidence in the stock market. Okay, maybe they are. I do think that that's a little disingenuous because the mutual funds and the money growth funds control most of the market. Okay, they determine what happens. And the stuff that's crap, they sell to us, right? Delta Airlines yesterday issued a warning that their profit outlook will be slashed in half for the upcoming year. And it's a good indicator of where the economy is because business air flights, for salesmen, corporate meetings, conventions, flights are usually a good indicator of where they are as a company. And those are going to be cut back drastically. Also, personal vacations. I'll say this. I have got a lot of friends, and they really don't know what the future looks. I was asking one of them, I said, what are you going to do for summer? And he goes, I don't know. Ask me in June. And I understand the trepidation. Of course, another Republican. But Delta expected their growth to be somewhere between 7 and 10% this year. Now they're projecting it to be 3 to 4%. So that's quite a bit of difference. We shall see what ends up happening. A couple odd things in the news. This is a cute little story from that beautiful corporation, Chick-fil-A. Seems like an Ohio Chick-fil-A owner has been arrested after authorities say he drove 400 miles south to North Carolina to meet a 15-year-old that he was engaged in conversation with online, reportedly broke into the family's house and allegedly molested the child. All right, I wonder if we're going to see that on the next commercial for Chick-fil-A. Stacey Lee Austin, 49 of Belmont, Ohio, was arrested and held without bond in connection with the March 5th incident. All right. Maybe he was just, I don't need, you know what? I'd like to make a joke. I usually make light of a lot of things. I can't even, I want to throw up, and I know that I'm not going to be one of these libs who says, oh, this is typical. It's not, but it's just an abhorrent human being. And I'm not a big fan of the Chick-fil-A philosophy. They are all cuddly on the commercials, but they've opposed alternative lifestyles. They've opposed gay marriage. They're allowed to do whatever they want, but it doesn't mean I have to endorse who and what they stand for. And I think as a people, we have to, it's kind of like, I remember this movie, Gene Hackman movie. And his daughter is Mary Elizabeth Mastriano, great actress. She was in A Perfect Storm. And she's his daughter. He's a big lawyer. She's his protege, his daughter. And she was telling a friend, she goes, when Cesar Chavez orchestrated the grape boycott, it was terrible because I loved grape jelly and my mom didn't know what to do. And the person said, well, what did she end up doing? And she said, she introduced me to marmalade. And yeah, it's a cute little story. That's about the only thing I remember from that, but it was cute. We can oppose things, and I can oppose what Chick-fil-A does. And I do applaud everybody who had the economic blackout a couple Fridays ago. I didn't bring it up because in the back of my mind, I wonder what's the difference. But you know what? I was wrong, and I should have really had my whole show on that economic blackout, and I do apologize to you because at some point we just got to put our finger up in the air. At some point they can't keep stepping on our heads. And at the end of the day, I disagree with the Republicans. Okay, they disagree with me. But the powers that be, they want us to fight among each other. They want us to be like the baby chicks who are picking at each other. They're not seeing the crow coming. They're destroying each other before the crow gets there. The crow is the elites. The crow, and that's what Trump did such a great job of getting into. That, hey, I'm one of you. Of course, he's a billionaire. He ain't like us at all. He had a gold toilet, a gold effing toilet. He came down a golden escalator. He ain't like us. But he made us believe it because he told you the system was rigged, that they had it against us. Okay, I get it. And he did a better job of any politician other than Bernie Sanders, who we're going to get to here in a second, of explaining it to the people. And I really wish in 2016 Bernie would have got a shot. I don't know if he would have won, but we know Hillary lost, so it really didn't matter, right? So Bernie Sanders, I actually got a Bernie poster on my wall. I went to rallies for his in California in 2016 and 2020, and the Democrats rigged it so he couldn't get the nomination, and there we go, right? And I went to a rally in Pasadena, and Danny DeVito spoke. One of the guys from Ben & Jerry spoke. George Clooney spoke. Really great. Bernie was there, just captivating. And it is amazing to me that the most dynamic politician is an 83-year-old today. And because he speaks the truth. And he speaks to our angst, and he speaks to our pain. And he doesn't coddle us, but he gives us hope. And that is what the man does so brilliantly. And I will tell you this. In our lifetime, we are going to see a socialist president. Now, for our entire life, we were told socialism was bad. It's the devil. It's anti-capitalist, blah, 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 blah. F you. So, I have a lot of friends. It seems like every story starts out with they got a lot of friends. And just a good old boy, good old boys. And if you go back in 1964, Barry Goldwater was an arch conservative. And he ran for president and he lost. But he took the stigma the stench off the conservative movement. Okay? The Republicans were more like Dwight Eisenhower. They were moderates. They were world builders. They were nation builders. He was more of an isolationist. He was more of a very conservative fiscal hawk. And he got crushed. He lost. But what he did was lay the seeds for the conservative movement that 16 years later was realized when Ronald Reagan was elected over Jimmy Carter. Now let's go back to Bernie Sanders. the more he speaks, the more he talks to the truth, the more we realize this guy ain't full of crap, right? And unfortunately, he's never going to be president. His moment was stolen from him and stolen from us. But I'm telling you, 10, 12 years down the road, we're going to have a socialist who's going to win. Yeah, I know. I will tell you this, in 2004, if I would have told you there's going to be a black man president, you'd have told me I'm crazy. You can tell me I'm crazy, you're going to be right, but I would have been right on that one, right? Well, Bernie Sanders is the face and the voice of the anti-Trump movement right now. So what is this guy doing? Is this guy sitting in his office? Is he sitting on the shore in Vermont? Is he having been in Jerry's ice? No. That guy is out there. He's taking it to the streets. Him and the Doobie Brothers are taking it to the streets. So let's talk about what he did last weekend. God bless Bernie Sanders and the people who believe in him, because I'm one of them. And I hope you are too, because this is a great man. AOC, great lady. These people still are here. They are part of our resistance. Believe in them, because they are going to lead us to the promised land. This weekend, Bernie Sanders went to Wisconsin last Friday, drew a crowd of 4,000 people in Kenosha, Wisconsin, in the freezing weather. The next morning, he got up, 2,600 people in Altoona, Wisconsin, which is a town of less than 10,000 people. So literally 26% of the population in that town went to that rally. And then this guy don't got enough, right? Saturday night, he went to a suburb of Detroit, Michigan, and they were going to have his rally in the auditorium at the school, but there were so many people. So what does he do? He takes it out to the parking lot, gets in the back of a Ford pickup truck, gets a bullhorn, and talks for an hour and a half. 9,000 people showed up. Now you're saying, John, what's he doing? These are all Republican districts. Swing states they turned from Democrats 2 years ago. Yeah. AOC has talked about she's going to get out on the road in Pennsylvania and New York in the next couple months, and I hope she does. Love that lady. Here's what I'm saying. Where is Gavin Newsom? Where is Christy Whitmer? Where are all these people who want the Democratic nomination 4 years from now? Where's Josh Shapiro? Where's Andy Beshear? Get out there. Go to these districts. Quit being a bunch of pussies and get out there and fight for America. You owe it to us, you owe it to yourself, and you owe it to this world to make it a better place. You know, I don't like Trump, but at least he's out there fighting. He's out there doing what he believes, even though I'm 100% opposed to him. Damn it, we need some people with that kind of backbone in our party. And we got AOC and we got Bernie Sanders. Where is the rest of them? Are they looking at the political pollsters? Are they sitting on their hands? They got their thumbs in their butts? Why aren't they out there talking to us? How come in California I don't have political rallies? How come the Democrats never come here when there's election season? You know what? We're seeing an environment where these Republicans are canceling these town halls in Mississippi, in Alabama, in Georgia, all across the country because they're so afraid of the feedback. Why don't the Democrats go to those same places and tell the people what they want to hear? We are with you. We hate Trump. We are opposed to what he is doing. We will be there for you. No. Only one man's out there. And his name is Bernie Sanders. And I'm glad I live in a lifetime where he exists. And you know, right now it's a little dark. Unfortunately, for it to get light, it has to get darker here. But I am proud to be part of a party of AOC and Bernie Sanders. I'm proud. Hopefully, they can reward that pride in our party with action. Not just words, with action. Show up, stand up, show up, and lead. Don't just be there to get the check. Don't be there just to create a legacy. Be there to do some goddamn good in this country. Because I'm goddamn tired of you telling me stuff. For how many years have I been hearing you're going to tax the billionaires? Nah. F you. You know what? Bernie's out there. He's the guy leading the charge. He really wants to do it, but the rest of the Democratic Party is a bunch of cuckolds. They don't want to do anything that may offend the pollsters. It may offend the corporate donors. F you and F you. All right. That's enough for tonight. Got going, didn't I? Yeah. I always told you. You ought to see me when I drink. All right, if you could, leave some comments. I'd appreciate it, especially if you agree with me. It tells me you're smart then. And hit the subscribe and like button. Hey, thank you for sharing this with me. I need you. We need each other. Don't be sad. Tomorrow we'll be back together, and we'll keep the fight going. All right. Till we talk again, be peaceful, be good.